everyone, my name is Ryan Cam, and welcome back to the 1999 Project, where I'll be trying my hardest to cover every movie released in the year 1999. I've already covered as much as I could from January 99, so it is time to jump to the month of February. And in terms of in terms of genres, I don't think there will be a more stark clash than the movies I'm going to be covering this week. So let's jump in feet first with the hot mess that is Payback.
Everything working out?
Oh, yeah.
Payback was supposedly directed by Brian Helgeland, and it starred Mel Gibson, Chris Christopherson, and Maria Bello, among others. Oh, and John Glover's in this movie too. I swear to God, I cannot escape this man. It tells the story of a man named Porter, played by Mel Gibson. After a deal goes south where he and a fellow organized criminal come to loggerheads over money, as you do, his fellow criminal shoots him twice in the back and leaves him for dead. That's not a good thing, and so Porter basically takes it upon himself to get back what is owed to him. Nothing more, nothing less. Now, when I said that this movie was a hot mess, I'm not necessarily talking in terms of quality. I'm talking in terms of what was going on behind the scenes. This is a very long story, so to make the long story very short, Brian Helgeland, the director, and the producer, who just so happened to be Mel Gibson, frequently clashed creatively over what direction the movie was going to go in. It got so bad that Mel Gibson had Brian Helgeland fired as a result. Gibson would end up bringing in a new director. This director would end up shooting, or reshooting rather, pretty much a good chunk of the movie, about 30%. A new screenwriter was brought in to rewrite the screenplay to not to make it less gritty, and Chris Christopherson was brought in to play a new villain. In 2006, Brian Helgeland would release his own version, his director's cut of this movie. Despite literally everything that was going down behind the scenes, I actually liked this movie, or at the very least, I liked how gritty it felt. With Mel Gibson, you kind of expect that, but I really did I liked the overall tone that the movie was going for. Mel Gibson is predictably great as Porter. He is he's basically a criminal with honor, if that's the best way to describe it. His whole impetus for going after the guys that tried to take him out was not for revenge or anything like that. Well, revenge has something to do with it, but he just wants the money that he feels that he is owed. They keep talking about just pay him the 130,000 because it's a debt to this very powerful section of the mafia, and he's just like, I just want my 70,000 because $70,000 was promised to him, and to him that's all that he needs. And he gets frequently exasperated because everyone's like, give him 130. Why is he doing all this over 130? And he's like, you people don't listen. I need just 70. It was honestly kind of refreshing to not do, let's say, a John Wick, where he just decides to go scorched earth on everything, or just do something similar like Liam Neeson would do. Porter is someone who you would probably never want to meet in real life and is not someone to be admired, but he has a code. That I respect. The criminals in this movie are pretty much what you come to expect. There's a deep network, and there's no real infiltration of them in any real way, but Porter does in fact find a way. The stunts in this movie are genuinely quite good. There's a couple car crashes where I actually gritted my teeth because I'm like, that looked rather gnarly. Like for the late 90s especially, they felt particularly gruesome. If I had to have the biggest problem with the movie is the tonal clashes. They don't derail the movie for me, but there are some parts where they try to go the dark comedy route and it doesn't really work. Again, doesn't kill the movie for me, but in it's certain circumstances where I'm like, all right, why would you joke about something like this in this situation? Where is your awareness? But overall, I'm going to give this movie a good rating, a high good rating. Even though, despite literally everything that went on in the making of this movie, overall, I liked it, and I liked the action that it provided. But now, let us leapfrog into the other side of the coin. Let's talk about Simply Irresistible.
It's ridiculous. It's actually thought about every 4 minutes, and yeah, it's about right.
Simply Irresistible.
Simply Irresistible was directed by Mark Tarlov, and it stars Sarah Michelle Gellar and Sean Patrick Flanery. There are way too many co-stars in this movie with 3 names. It tells the story of a girl named Amanda, played by Gellar. She runs her family's failing restaurant, and we're not at Kitchen Nightmares levels of failure, or at least not until we see the fridge anyway, but it's pretty much on the verge of closure. But when she goes to the market, she inadvertently picks up a magical crab. She cooks it, feeds it to Tom, played by Sean Patrick Flanery, and Tom immediately falls in love with her cooking. And so the love story commences. So all of this starts because of crabs. Yes, I know what I did there, and no, I'm not apologizing. If I sound like I'm trying to dunk on the movie, I'm honestly not, because I think just big positive of the movie, I think Sarah Michelle Gellar and Sean Patrick Flanery did have good chemistry with each other. Gellar especially, I thought was the best part of the movie. I'm a fan of hers generally from the Scooby-Doo movies, among other things, but she was really good here as well, and she was the heart of the movie. There are a couple scenes where I'm like, bless your heart, you're trying, but you are way too good for this material. Basically, this movie feels very much like window dressing on a story you have seen 1,000 times before. Sean Patrick Flanery plays someone very wealthy who inadvertently stumbles onto a place he would never end up, meeting the owner, and the owner falls in love, but he's just like, who is this again? And so the movie just does a whole song and dance of, I'm too good for you, no you're not, and if you've seen one of them, you've seen all of them. It's the magic crab for me that really just sends it over the edge, especially considering the fact that we actually see they rig up a crab to use to climb out of a basket, and you can see the wires that they used. And I wasn't expressly looking for the wires per se, but I guess I've seen way too many movies to guess just I just noticed it. I just did. It was like those scenes from The Mask where I clearly saw the wires being used for certain scenes. I was like, oh, bless their hearts, they tried, but I mean, 4K is not your friend. If this would have been more of a traditional love story, that would have been fine for me, but as soon as they tried to throw magical crabs into this to try and kick this can down the road, that's when things started to get contrived for me. This movie was ultimately pretty forgettable. Minus Sarah Michelle Gellar, Sean Patrick Flanery, and the crabs. The rest of the movie, much ado about nothing. But I pass it off to all of you. What did you think of these movies? Let me know in the comments. Love to read what you have to say. And stay tuned for next week. This will be a particularly busy version of the 1999 project. Next week, I'll be covering Blast from the Past, starring Brendan Fraser, Message in a Bottle, starring Kevin Costner, My Favorite Martian from Disney, and a 1998 dance movie that didn't come out in America until 1999, and it's from Spain. It's a movie called Tango. But if you like this video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel and click the bell to allow notifications so when a new video drops, you'll be the first to know about it. My name is Ryan Cam, and I'll see you in the next one.